Hello everyone, you are welcome to my YouTube channel, and in today's video I'm going to talk to you about brooding. Now that's a question that most people have been asking me, how to brood your birds from day 1 up to week 4. So the very first thing to do in the life of your birds is brooding. It's a very critical time in the life of your birds. If you don't do brooding well, it can affect the future production, and it can also make the farming life very miserable. You know, you can lose a lot of birds, and that's really not cool. So I'm super excited. Our birds are turning 52 weeks this week, and it's such a very beautiful moment here at a farm. And you know, we started this thing with a lot of fears, and you know, but then God has been so gracious. We have reached this far. So I'm going to share with you the tips that helped me during the time of brooding. I told you that I started my birds from day 1, and since then the production has been really good, except for the few weeks when we had some challenges that you have been watching on my videos. And yeah, it's not yet over. So if you are watching me for the very first time, my name is Asperia. I'm a very passionate poultry farmer, and I do farming in other aspects, and also do marriage counseling. And so you are in the right place. Click subscribe, like the video, share it with your friends, and you know, let's get started. The very first thing I would advise you to do, ensure that you start with healthy chicks. Now make sure you have gotten your chicks from authentic and reputable dealers. Now this is from a company where you know, and maybe you have had some good testimonies from other fellow farmers, that these chicks are really of good quality and of good health. You know, make sure you do get birds. Don't get birds from black market. If you are doing commercial farming and you want to have a poultry farm that you're going to sell your products and, you know, grow and learn, don't get chicks from black market, like these vendors who just bring birds at your door. You don't know the source, you don't know whether they are stolen, you know, they are not branded, you don't know where they are coming from. It's really not good. So if you are beginning, make sure that you buy your birds from authentic dealers, people with reputable names, like people who have good recommendations from very good poultry farmers. Then number 2, prepare for brooding. Now during preparation, make sure you clean and you disinfect the area where you're going to bring the birds to. Now for starters, a brooder is a very small place that you gazette in, sometimes inside the poultry house, sometimes outside the poultry house. You know, you gazette a small place depending on the number of the birds that you're going to bring. So make sure you have the poultry house that you're going to put the birds in is very clean and disinfected, and then disinfect the brooder. Make sure you get very clean things. Disinfect yourself before entering the house. Make sure you do that thoroughly. Do it with one heart. No, don't compromise on anything to do with biosecurity inside the brooder. Temperature control. Now make sure that the brooder has good temperature control. Now you're going to have the thermometer that is going to help you be measuring the temperature inside the brooder. Now these birds, they need good temperature for them to grow. They don't need it to be too high or too low. Actually, it should be between 32 to 35 degrees Celsius. So it should be measured very well, and you should know that it is good. It should not be too high, you know. So we put the temperatures using the charcoal stoves. Some people use electric bulbs, others use, you know, anything that could generate heat inside a poultry house. And then you make sure it's not going to be disastrous. Some charcoal stoves are very bad, that when you put them inside the brooder, the birds are going to fall in there and they get burnt, you know. So make sure you have very good ones for your brooder, and then provide very clean and dry bedding inside the brooder. Now for the very first week, the very first day, from day 1 up to day 7, you're supposed to have a brooder paper inside your brooder, and this will help you to have the birds, you know, have them eat food in a clean and dry environment. Now that brooder paper is designed to help these birds get used to the brooder house, to the poultry house in general. So their first time, because their legs are still very young and they are very soft, they may not be able to stand inside the litter, the hash litter. So you put a brooder paper so that they can get used and they grow. At day 7 they are well grown, and now you can remove the brooder paper. Even on the brooder paper we put there some food, and so that those who cannot access the feeders can be able to trace food from the brooder paper. So make sure the beddings are very clean and dry. Don't make them wet, because when you make them wet or you pour water inside the brooder, they are going to cake, and so when these birds are stepping, they are going to get those things on their legs and they can get stuck. Remember, they're very young, they can die, and also it can cause some diseases since some of the food is going to be dropped down on the brooder paper. So make sure it's dry. And also the care after you have set up the brooder, the care, make sure you track the temperature. It is very important from day 1 to know that the temperature is very high or very low. When the temperature is very low, you find that the chicks are going to pile themselves inside one place, and when it is very high, you're going to find when they're panting, like their wings they have spread them all over, and the breathing changes a little bit, and that shows you that you need to reduce the temperature. Or when you find them they are piling or they have gathered themselves in one place, it means they are feeling cold. They need you to increase on the temperature. Make sure you monitor your chicks very well, and also give them adequate space. Don't make it too small for them not to be able to move around. Remember, these chicks are growing every day. You notice a lot of changes. They play, they move up and down, so make sure that the brooder is not very small. It has space for them to move up and down and do some little bit of exercise, and also grow. So make sure it's not too big and it's not too small. Give them adequate space that's really enough for them. Remember, you keep increasing this space depending on the number of birds that you have and the age. So from day 1 up to day 3 they are still very young, they can be in a smaller place. Then day 7 they grow, so you are supposed to increase their space, and so that they can grow and have enough space. And also water, ensure that these birds have access to clean and safe water. The very first day when you bring these birds, you're supposed to give them glucose, because it stimulates their system, it boosts their energy, and also because they have not eaten anything since they were born, it means they need something to start on. It's their starter. They take that glucose for the first 4 hours, and then you can introduce the meals, the feeds. So before that, make sure that the water you're using is very clean and safe, and it's accessible inside the brooder. Make sure your birds have clean and safe water. And also make sure that you give them nutritious feeds. For some companies they have pre-starter, others have starter. Both of them work depending on the contents that they have put, the ingredients that they have used. So make sure that you're giving your birds the right feeds. Don't just bring your birds at day 1 and then you're giving them layers mash because they are layers. No, start from the starter. Actually, for us, we started at pre-starter, then we went to starter, then we went to growers mash, and later we turned to layers mash as the chicks continued to grow. So make sure you're feeding your chicks with the right feeds. Don't feed them feeds which are not of their age. That will disorganize their growth, and it will also hinder them from producing very well in the near future. And also about their health and hygiene, make sure you vaccinate your chicks properly. Do not skip any vaccination. Now there's a schedule of vaccination that I shared on my channel that I was following, and vaccination for layers. Make sure you get one that you're going to follow, and then you vaccinate your birds thoroughly. vaccination helps on, reducing the risks of diseases on your farm. When you vaccinate your birds, it's not going to stop diseases from coming. The diseases are going to come, but at least they are going to come when the birds have some good immunity to fight against those diseases. So make sure you don't skip vaccination. And also monitor regularly. Make sure you inspect your chicks. Move around. The time that I shared a video about brooding, I told you guys I slept in my brooder house for 3 days. The first 3 days of my birds, I was in the brooder house. I slept in there to ensure that the birds are safe, because their first days are not really easy. They're not used to the world. They've been inside an egg, and so you have to teach them. So when they're in the brooder, you need to make sure that you monitor, you move around, you ensure that they are safe. Sometimes they go under those pots that are giving heat. Sometimes they go under the brooder paper. So you need to help them get access to the feeds. You need to make sure they're drinking water. So you need to make this brooder house your place for the first 7 days, and also for the rest of the time that they will spend in the brooder. And also lastly, cleanliness. Maintain a very good and clean brooder. The brooder paper is not supposed to be wet, and inside the brooder you're not supposed to just enter there. Don't bring people come and see my chicks, they're in here, come and see. Now that is a very critical time for your birds. Don't allow or entertain people enter inside your brooder house. They can introduce diseases, because at this particular time they have not even gotten all the vaccination, and they are still very vulnerable. They are still weak. Their immunity is still young, just like a little baby. You cannot just give your little baby to everyone. People will come and carry my baby. No, the same way we care, the same way we should care for the chicks, because they have life. So make sure you get them jealously, you clean, and in fact that is going to really help you. And you remember I told you in my previous videos that the way you brood your chicks will determine the production in the near future. Thank you so much for watching. I believe you found something helpful in this video. That is so, consider subscribing, like the video, share it with your friends, and love you.